It's me, Sean Capri. I'm glad you're here because you're listening to the most horse-powerful podcast on the internet. It's the Xbox Drive. I'm on a Skype call with my friend Ryan Turford. He's the meteorologist on the Moose, and there's a 30% chance that you're going to be listening to an amazing podcast. We're going to talk about games that are amazing, and actually 30%, that's too low. 90% chance that we're talking about good stuff, so jump on into the Xbox Drive. Blah, 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 blah.
No power greater than X.
Hello.
Ryan. I'm just interrupting you. I've never done that before. I just thought I would start the show by screaming at you instead of, doing our normal thing here.
That's true. Well, that's why I also tried to do something different because I was trying to give you like my own mini barbershop quartet.
Quartet, yes.
To you. But you ruined it by talking over me, Sean.
My bad.
What happened.
My bad.
But at the same time, you kind of redeemed yourself during the intro because you were kind of doing the weatherman thing by describing how excited you should be about this show. So I appreciate that.
Have you ever seen the clip of the guy? I don't know where he was. Maybe in England somewhere. And he does like the world's longest town name. It's like this Gaelic town, and it's like 72 characters long, and he just nails it. I could watch that clip on repeat for a year straight, and it's just dope. He nails it, dude. Like it, and it's a goofy kind of name too. It's got like a little ups and downs with a boppity boopity kind of a name as well. I'm probably offending way too many people here right at the start. The Xbox Drive is here, Ryan. Carpool Gaming, patreon.com. You can go right over there for a 4-hour episode of Sweet Hangs, which I just finished 6 minutes ago.
Yeah,
into this one.
I'm just amazed you've got so much energy still because it's been a long show. But I'm not letting you just run away that quickly, Sean. You tried to transition us into cleaning the garage, but you were talking about a meme a meme video that I haven't seen, which also came up in discussion with another meme video the other night where the video about how we ate ribs with that guy.
We ate ribs with that
dude. Oh my
God. We
God.
didn't have a clue that girl was in that house.
There's just so much I missed out on.
That's dead giveaway. Oh, Ryan, come on, man. Got to get with that dead giveaway. The bronchitis lady. Yeah. Antoine Dodson. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What year is it even?
I don't even know anymore. At this point, we're going to rewind so much that we're going to just start saying, "What's up?" all the time. It's going to be weird.
Yeah, exactly.
God, you remember when everyone was doing that? That used to be a thing.
That's a Super Bowl thing, man. That was a Super Bowl commercial. It was a big deal.
I mean, it was so big, they parodied it in the hit movie Scary Movie.
Scary Movie. Yes.
Of course.
Dude, that was the height. I was thinking about that today, like when fart jokes were just like the height of comedy. It didn't take a whole lot, but I used to laugh. I used to laugh, Ryan. I used to giggle.
Yeah.
I used to be happy.
That was in our younger days. Sean, we used to laugh all the time.
I laugh now. I laugh. Oh. That's why we podcast, man. We have a good time.
Absolutely. So anyways, this is going to transition us to cleaning the garage. So folks, if you want to support the show, there's a number of amazing ways you can do that. Number one, if you're watching the live stream right meow over at youtube.com/carpoolgaming, or if you're watching the video on demand later, don't forget to hit that like button, slightly tap that subscribe button. You don't want to tap it too hard, or else you might double click it accidentally and then unsubscribe by accident. Also, of course, let us know in the comments below what games you are excited about, because of course we're excited to talk about the games we're excited about, and we want to hear what games you're excited about. So let us know in the comments below. Also, if you're listening on audio feeds, don't forget to rate us if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Maybe leave us a nice Apple Podcast review if you're feeling so nice. And then, of course, hitting that subscribe button helps go a long way as well. Also, if you want one big podcast feed with the entire Carpool Gaming cinematic universe on it, head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/carpoolgaming. And as well, we've got exclusive content, just like Sweet Hangs, 4-hour Sweet Hangs that Sean alluded to a little bit earlier, as well as the Pants Patreon podcast for Patrons podcast, BTS, and a whole lot more. And last but not least, of course, our website, carpoolgaming.com. If you want an Xbox Drive t-shirt or another Carpool Gaming branded t-shirt, head on over there as well. And also the future of Carpool Gaming, Sean, February 5th. We're so close at this point. A week and a half.
Can you believe it? Can you believe that's how time works? It's almost here, Ryan.
We're going to announce some stuff. It's going to be cool. So please be excited.
Yes, Ryan.
More details to come. But
I'm not saying nothing. I almost gave away too much on Sweet Hangs a little bit.
I was just about to say that. I was just like, I was very scared when watching that show that you're going to give it away, Sean.
Yeah, because Donnie knows some stuff too, and he almost gave some stuff away too. So we did it. Yeah, it's okay. Everything. The secret is safe. Only a few more days left before we can just tell everybody all the things. Right.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I'm surprised Jace hasn't caught on already. Like we haven't had like a giant diatribe from Jace come in already.
Just piecing it all together.
It all together. Like he's got his. I imagine Jace has got his like whiteboard at home. He's like
everybody needs a good whiteboard, Ryan. I posted a picture of my whiteboard in the Carpool Gaming Discord a few moments ago, and I've listened. You guys think I'm joking around about this stuff? Like, do you think I'm joking with you? Like,
I'm like, this is the most Sean picture I've ever seen in my entire life.
Right here beside me at all times. It's right here.
Yeah. Again, we talked about this right before we went live, though. My favorite, though, is after you posted it, then Yarden immediately went and did the Nintendo Direct thing of like highlighted the
color
green
coding
of like what they're gonna play, the yellow of like maybe, and red. It's like nope. And they even point out how they put the same game twice.
Yeah, I didn't even realize I put Max Payne on there twice. And so if people want to know a little bit more about like this is legit, like patreon.com/carpool gaming is where you're going to get the audio feed for this. And Donnie Reese from PSVG and we were talking about wrestling in 1 second. And then another second, we're talking about my backlog of games and how he's upset that I'm not buying anything new. And then next thing we know, we have now evolved the tournament bracket. So way of me selecting the next game that I'm going to play into a Royal Rumble. And Jace at twitch.tv/backridge has assigned a whole bunch of games to placements within the Royal Rumble, which is happening this weekend, WWE Royal Rumble. And whichever game or wrestler wins, that's the next game I'm going to play. So some of these games, as an example, I think we've put Cyberpunk 2077 as the number 30th spot. So that means that's the 30th wrestler to go into the ring, which they have the best chance. They're the last one in. So Cyberpunk is at number 1. I think they're at number 30. I'm talking about them like the game is a person. Pal World coming in at number 30. So if the first wrestler in the ring defeats all other 30 wrestlers, then the next game I'm playing, Ryan, is Pal World. So stay tuned for that one, man, because we're taking it up a notch. And March Madness is next. We're going to do it all over again. We're going to assign a game to a team in the NCAA basketball tournament extraordinaire.
And then ultimately, Sean, I feel like the evolution of this beyond that point is you get your copy of WWE 2K24, and then you actually simulate a Royal Rumble in there to then determine that.
That'd be great.
Because this is a shout out, of course, to one of my favorite horror YouTube channels out there, Dead Meat. What they do yearly is they do a horror Royal Rumble where they go into the character creator and make 30 horror characters from across a bunch of horror movies that they've covered on the channel. And then they have them fight in the ring, and they basically have the computers control the characters, and they like live commentate on the match as it happens. And it's like one of the coolest things.
I love that. Okay, well, I think SmackDown 2013 on the 360, I'm pretty sure. Ryan, does that count? Is that okay?
I mean, that it does probably have
or
the
Raw
Royal Rumble
SmackDown,
in it,
whatever it was.
And it probably has that automated feature. I mean, I have WWE 2K23, Sean. So there is
I don't think it's a 2K game. I don't know who made it back then.
Oh, we can go back as early as possible. You want me to just whip out my copy of No Mercy, Sean? We can just do that.
No Mercy. We could do No Mercy. Yeah, I think I've got WWF Raw on 64 in here.
Excellent. Yep. Excellent. I mean, the oldest I have going back is WCW versus NWO.
NWO. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Good God.
So I guess I'm watching the Royal Rumble tomorrow.
I guess so.
And I don't know what game is assigned. Like I only know a couple. And so we'll be hanging out in Jace's Discord, probably listening to the Royal Rumble as it's going along. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's Fire Emblem Engage. I can't believe Fire Emblem Engage is coming out. Like Fire Emblem Engage just got tossed over the ropes. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome.
Fire Emblem Engage immediately gets tossed over the ropes as they ran into the
Baldur's Gate took out Fire Emblem Engage. Like it's the opposite of personifying these things. It's great.
Please. Pal World's going to take out all these games, Sean.
Which one? Pal World?
You're going to get stuck playing Pal World. and then Seth is going to just shake
Oh
his
my
head at you
gosh,
when you have to
dude,
tell him about Pow World.
it's the best idea I think we've ever had. I think this is the best thing ever. So I'm pretty pumped about it, to be honest. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Sean, I'm excited that you're excited about this.
Thanks,
I
man.
actually love the excitement that's radiating from you from this. And also it's cool because, like, you know, you guys talked about it a little bit, but I'll mention my wrestling history. Like, I was never really into wrestling a lot until my friends who I met in high school were really into wrestling. So they got me to watch during kind of the Attitude Era was when I kind of watched wrestling. And then I really fell off of it after high school. I really just stopped watching wrestling altogether. But I kept playing wrestling video games because I've always found wrestling video games to be fun, which is why I have WWE 2K23. So like I do like wrestling video games a lot. They've obviously waned in quality, but in the last couple of years. But I do enjoy playing them. So yeah, I think that's super cool that you guys are excited about wrestling. And
super
from
fun.
what I hear, wrestling's good. It's back in a big way. So
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Sean, it's about time for us to grab our 8-tracks, pop them in. It's time for the playlist because we got to talk about Xbox games eventually, which is why, I mean, Sean, did you play anything this week, really?
I fired up Jedi Survivor for 30, 40 minutes this morning. It's been a very busy week. You and I and Seth were on a call for like 3.5 hours on Wednesday night. And the reason I wanted to bring up Jedi Survivor, nothing really to update on the game, but mostly just like sometimes how tricky it is for me to jump back into a game. You know, I was pretty dedicated to Prince of Persia, which I finished, and I talked mostly about that on the PlayStation Drive, which Seth and I guested on earlier this week as we are wishing Matt his farewell before his last episode on Monday. So I finished that game, finished up Prince of Persia here on the PC. And obviously I've been wondering what the next game is going to be. I have a number of hours into Jedi Survivor now, but I just kind of wanted to, you know, mention and discuss and put it out there for people. Like when I jump back into a game after playing another game for a while, like it took me basically the entire half an hour, 45 minutes to remember the controls and remember where I was going. And like, it's funny because the game is in 3D, but it still kind of like plays in a similar kind of way to Prince of Persia, if that makes any sense. Like it's melee based. It's not a sword. It's a lightsaber. I'd have a double jump. I want a dash now. So it's weird to kind of like shift from one to the other. But I'm kind of hoping that I can get a little bit further because the last I was playing it, I was really enjoying it. But this morning I was mostly just it was friction. It was a lot of friction trying to get back into this game. Yeah. I kind of want to get back into the flow, if that makes sense.
Well, especially like a heavy, like story-based kind of exploration, open world style game like this one. Like it makes perfect sense, especially like it is a little bit Souls-like in a way where, you know, if you forget how to play the game or something like that, some of the combat encounters can be kind of frustrating, I can imagine as well. So yeah, like that's the type of game, like that's part of the reason why I haven't actually gone back to Jedi Survivor is just like, I feel like I would need to dedicate a significant amount of time to really progress through that game.
Totally.
Without being able to put it down or play other games in between it. So
I will say that because of that, like I kind of got to rediscover that it was great. You know, it was like, oh man, it feels so good to slow down time a little bit and then reflect a laser back to the stormtrooper shot. Like that all feels really, really good. So I'm kind of hoping that kind of grips me and grabs me again here soon, or maybe the Royal Rumble will pick another game for me to play tomorrow night and I'll never get back to Jedi Survivor.
Who knows? Apparently, according to Donnie, I have a pick on the slot in the Royal Rumble.
Oh, yeah. So Donnie was trying to. So we've selected. Apparently, this is going to really upset people, and I feel like I'm being forced into this, Ryan. The 15th slot. This is Donnie negotiated this somehow. The 15th slot. So the 15th wrestler to enter the Royal Rumble. If that wrestler wins, then I must purchase a game.
Oh no.
And that game will be Space Marine 2. So I must break my New Year's resolution and later this year buy Space Marine 2. So that was Donnie's pick. He really wanted to make sure there was some like stakes here. And I was also thinking, because all the games that I would list are games that I actually want to play. So there was a call out for there to be more risk here. Like something like, ooh, we don't really, like, you want to cheer against a wrestler or a game to be there. And I was like, you know who would be perfect for this is Ryan. Ryan would be able to pick a game that would be torturous for me. And like we thought about Tears of the Kingdom because I haven't really loved that game and I'd have to, you know, play that for a long time. So yeah, we kind of wanted to toss it over to you for like a Ryan pick. So some
excellent.
number, you got to attach a game to a wrestler in the Royal Rumble. I don't know if that's putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I don't know what numbers are taken so far. So
no, you don't get to pick the game. The number, the order is
okay.
chosen by Jace.
The order was chosen because like
yes.
Oh man, because there's so many good ones. Like I could just immediately just pull out the last story and make you go and finish that game, Sean.
Oh snap!
But
that's a good one. See, I wouldn't have thought of that. That's really good.
I'm also just like, I don't know if I'm that cruel to Sean to make him go back and play the last story.
Oh, dude, that's great. That's really good.
That's type of example of what I think you're expecting here. So
kind of, yeah.
Although
like, yeah.
Although I almost kind of want to go to like think about this a little bit, so that I can maybe go to the ID and Xbox spreadsheet, Sean, and pick a game from there that I think you'll absolutely hate. Because then you'll have the code for it, so you won't have to purchase it.
Could be First Squadron, Ryan. The Star Fox.
No, you'll like that game too much. We can't have that. I have to think about it. But you know what? The last story is the sub in so far until I think about it.
See, that's what I mean. Like Donnie says in the chat, you had it ready. Like that's what I knew you would.
Well, no, it's because I have my copy of the last story like behind me on the shelf in view of the camera. So
Ryan,
it's on my mind.
This week we got a code from ID at Xbox, so we're very fortunate. We get them pretty much every indie game every week, and this week we got a code. I want to read this out to you. Last week was Pal World's week, but move over Pal World because Fall Guys is now being taken over by the latest hit coming to Xbox, Stumble Guys. Join millions of players and stumble to victory. Join millions of players and stumble to victory in this fun multiplayer knockout battle royale. Are you ready to enter the running chaos? Running, stumbling, falling, jumping, and winning has never been so fun. Play Stumble Guys.
Brian, you literally just described Fall Guys, John. That was the description for Fall Guys. You're just trolling me.
It looks like Fall Guys to me. There's a banana with some shades on the cover, so that's cool.
Side note, Sean, chat's throwing out great ideas right now. Yarden says Sega CD game for Sean to play. Yon32 says make him play James Cameron's Dark Angel.
That was
actually the one that was the top of my mind, but I knew Sean wouldn't be able to get a copy of James Cameron's Dark Angel.
Yeah.
So I decided not to force him to go through that.
But you could go JRPG on me. You could go like super anime, like whatever you want.
That's true. What's
like this? Because you're good at doing this with Garrett as well. You assign Garrett stuff on the RPG Cave all the time.
Yeah, but I also assume I assign Garrett games that I know he's gonna like, and I feel like I'm pretty good at that because I know him pretty well. Like I feel like I could assign you games I think you'll like, Sean.
Yeah,
but it's actually I think harder to come up with games I think you won't like.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But I agree. Like that's where maybe I'm just in a good mood today. Maybe it's I'm having a hard time thinking of games I don't like. But there's oftentimes I don't like games. The other thing I'll say too, I have a modded PlayStation Vita, so that gets you quite a selection.
You know, Bubsy
just straight up steal. I'm not buying games
available, Sean.
I'll just straight up steal. Which game? Sorry.
Bubsy 3D on the PlayStation 1.
See, that's what I'm talking. Like that's a Ryan pick for me. That sounds awful.
I mean, just or actually, we should force you to go through the same thing Mike Minotti over at Giant Bomb is going through right now, playing Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero.
There you go.
The game,
dude. Even Banjo-Kazooie would qualify. Like you throw Banjo-Kazooie my way, it's like, oh god,
I don't even like that game.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe you know what? Take Banjo-Kazooie over Last Story. I feel like that's a better pick. But
Last Story is pretty bad. That's pretty.
But you're almost finished.
Pretty awful. Game, that's just trying to finish that final boss, man. What a dumb game.
Oh my god. Well, Sean, speaking of old games that are
what are you playing?
First of all, I'm still playing Clock Tower 3. I'm near the end, so I'm actually probably by the time we're done next week's show, I should have that finished, crossed off my list. That'll be the first game on my list of 10 games that I have pledged to beat in the year of our Lord 2024. And I'm still enjoying it. Like it's not, the perfect game. The story is just all over the place and very goofy, but I'm enjoying like the horror gameplay, like running away from the hammer guy and kind of coming up with, creative solutions to either stall him or hide from him and stuff. Like the gameplay in this game is pretty fun. Again, it's one of those horror games where you just don't have any weapons other than holy water, which, stuns. the enemy, but you only have so many uses of it. And you're like hiding in closets or under desks and stuff like that. Like very similar to something like Alien Isolation or Outlast.
Oh, great.
But with, Resident Evil style third person camera angles and stuff like that.
Dude, Resident Evil isn't even on this list.
Of course it's not.
Oh my God. Okay, keep going.
What are we even doing here, Sean? If you don't have a Resident Evil game on there, what do we?
Do I not have a Resident Evil game on this list?
Yeah,
I guess not. Down on the list.
Sean, while you do that, I Can't See chimes in and says, "Oh my God, Sean should play 24 the game. Sean should play 24 the game, but he doesn't have access to it. Otherwise, I would actually suggest it." But
Ryan, Resident Evil 2 or 3?
Haven't you played 2?
Not Jill or Claire?
It'd be Claire. It'd be Claire.
Yeah. So it could be both.
Yeah, actually, you should play Claire. You should play Claire.
It's added to the list.
Did you see Five Nights at Freddy's into the pit, Ryan? I did not know Five Nights at Freddy's was in your pit, Sean, of games, but
it's not. It's not.
I don't know. I'm going by what Donnie says in the chat. I'm just reading off what he says verbatim. But other games, Sean.
Oh yeah,
played this week that I was actually curious about because a little game came out this week called Tekken 8. It got really, really good reviews, like 90. It was good. 90 on OpenCritic. And I've never really been a Tekken person at all, Sean. So I was like, oh well, hey, there's a demo for Tekken, and I've been yes, and I've been putting off trying the demo for Tekken. And I was like, oh, well, maybe this is my time to get into Tekken because I like fighting games a lot. We've talked about that a lot on the show. Yep. But just Tekken was a series that like I've, dabbled with, but I've never really gotten into. So I tried out the demo, and the demo is pretty cool for this because it has a bunch of different options available to you. Like you can just do the standard fighting mode with a couple characters, but you also get like a sample of like their story mode. Then you also get the access to like this other different type of story mode that you have that involves characters that aren't even from Tekken, but you play as like Tekken esports players, like leveling up the ranks, which is like super interesting. Like you're going to arcades and you've got this rivalry. Like I only care about players that care about Tekken. And it's just like the goofiest freaking story out there. But at the same time, like Sean, this game got its hooks into me in a big way. Like, I don't know what they did with this game to make me love it the way I love it, but I actually really love just the one-on-one fighting in Tekken 8 from what I played from this demo to the point where I put the demo down, deleted it, and immediately bought the game. So I am all in on Tekken 8. I'll be playing it a lot more probably over for the next week until Persona 3, because Sean, at this moment, we are currently exactly 7 days away from Persona 3 Reload, which is, of course, the game that I'm going to fall down the rabbit hole with pretty soon. But Tekken 8's got its week, man. It's got its week.
It's got its week. Yeah.
I'm excited to really play through the story mode because it seems really cool. And even the other goofy kind of like arcade story mode as well seems interesting too. So yeah, like I never thought I'd be into Tekken in this way. Like this, but this has won me over to the point where I'm like, yes, please. I'm excited to devote all this time to Tekken. So expect more on next week's show. But there you go. I'm excited, Sean. I'm excited that this is why I always like to give like series and other genres of games a try, because like, even if they didn't click with me in the past, there might be a time where they might tweak the formula just enough that gets me in. And that's what it feels like happened here. I know people love Tekken for years, but it just hadn't clicked with me before. But I feel like the pace of combat this time around just really got me into it in a way I wasn't expecting.
Well, shout out to Bowsah in League A, fantasy critic for Carpool Gaming. Bowsah picked Tekken 8, and dude, like you said, it's sitting at, what is it, at 90?
90.
Yep. So that scores Bowsah, holy crap, is that 20 points?
It is, because Miles_of_Amanda also selected it in League C. And in her response when picking Tekken 8 is, I have no idea what this game is or
amazing
about those games.
That's how you win. That's exactly how you win. And in League B, it was this Nagachaka?
Yep, Nagachaka.
Yep.
Who got the other game that came out this week, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which also got a 90.
Okay, Nagachaka with the 1, 2. Oh, and he also picked Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy.
He's at 52 points already.
Good God.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm not in that
It's
league.
January, Sean. And
Wow.
Nagachaka's at 52 points already.
Great job, Nagachaka. Shout out to you, man. Just crushing it.
Yeah.
League B.
Good God.
All right. Good stuff, man.
Yeah. Tekken. I'm excited about it.
Nice.
So, Sean, I want to transition real quick into our cruise control topic, which is we kind of just wanted to take the time because we haven't really done this yet this month, but man, it's already been a great year for games already, and it's just January. So I'm and there's a ton coming out next month, Sean. Like I keep like on Sweet Hangs, you and Donnie mentioned a couple times that like there's like nothing on your radar for February, and I'm here to maybe try and convince you otherwise that maybe there's more games to be excited about in February than you might have thought.
Take your best shot, Ryan Turford. There is a few. I would say there's nothing. There's actually February is probably the best month on the docket here.
Yeah, I think so. It's very strong. And so I want, of course, we'll mention next Friday, we got Persona 3 Reload, which I'm super jazzed about, but also, I'm going to remain cautiously optimistic that this could actually be good. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Yeah.
That it might not be terrible. It might actually be fun. So like I just want to go into it with a positive attitude and not be one of those people who just is on the internet and sees the trailer and just like, this game looks terrible. I'm
with you on that. I'm trying to catch up to January 2023, Ryan, with Fire Emblem Engage. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to catch up to last year. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. You'll catch up one day, Sean.
One day. No, I won't.
Yeah. February 8th, we're also getting Helldivers 2 on the old PC. Now, obviously that's a PlayStation game, but it's on PC, which is relevant to this podcast.
Counts here.
That game looks pretty fun. I don't know about you, but like I think the co-op sounds like it's going to be pretty fun for that game.
Yeah, we've got to figure out what's going on with the coverage for that game. If we might be able to do a little something that they're Helldivers. You got all these people on the PlayStation Drive; they're all quitting, so I got to figure something out, man.
I mean, maybe we'll have to ask the new people when we
maybe.
But then February 13th, we're getting Dannoh's new game, Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden. This is like an action RPG that is made by the team at Dannoh that did Vampire, as well as a couple other games. They did Remember Me and a couple other games for Dannoh. But like they just released a new trailer for this game yesterday, Sean, and this game looks dope. Like I'm actually pretty excited about this game. Although this one's definitely like of the RPGs this month, it's definitely like probably on the lowest here, but that's just because the RPGs that are out in February look amazing. But this game looks pretty cool, and it is definitely gone from being like not on my radar at all to start the year to very much on my radar for some time later this year, even if it's not this month. But next month, I got to give a shout out to this game, Sean, which is one that Seth and I went crazy for when we watched the limited run games showcase together, when we live reacted to it on over on the Twitch channel. Arzette, the Jewel of Faramore. Sean, do you know about anything about Arzette, the Jewel of Faramore?
No clue, Ryan.
So this indie company, Sean, had the wild and crazy idea of looking at the Zelda CDI games and being like, hey, this is actually a really good idea for a game. Why don't we make a modern game that's inspired by the Zelda games that were on the Philips CDI? And that's what this game is. It's got all these like really goofy cutscenes. It's like a side-scrolling action RPG, and it looks just goofy in all the right ways. And I'm actually pretty excited about this game. This game comes out on Valentine's Day.
Of course it does.
Of course. I mean, why do anything else but play Arzette? Like, look at these graphics, Sean. Look at how cool that CD looks.
Okay. Yeah, we need nice pixelated CD graphics here.
Yeah.
After 10 years of peace. Okay. Yeah. Okay. How do you know about like sometimes I just see a title of a game, I'm like, don't recognize it, don't like that. Okay. Okay, yeah. I see what you're getting here. Okay. Who's this reminding me of?
Like I said, like Seth and I were like over the moon with this game. We were both pretty excited about this.
It's giving me Shantae vibes. Is that right, Ryan? Is that fair to say?
She's definitely reminiscent of Shantae. She doesn't have she's not attacking with her hair or anything. But
my wife's just scared me, but she did give me a drink, so I did not. I was talking to you, Ryan. I was locked into our conversation. She showed up right beside me.
That's all good.
I now have a drink for my hoarse throat.
I love how you said that while we were watching the B-roll of our set with the horse dude that was talking about
Intentional.
the horse throat.
Intentional. Yep, I nailed
Of
it.
course.
I'm a
Oh my
professional.
God. But yeah, that game looks great. I can't wait to play it. But the same day, Sean, one that I know you're excited about, Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered, also out on Valentine's Day. And of course, this looks great. Have you seen the PC version running in DLSS, Sean, in 4K?
No, it
It
must
looks
look amazing.
Crazy. It looks crazy. It looks
Dude,
so
I
good.
love these games. Dude, Lara Croft doing a backflip. Dude, she gets some air, man. She's got vertical like nobody's business. I am stoked about this game. It's probably my most anticipated game this year that I am not allowed to buy.
Yeah,
Brian, this is going to be torturous.
I mean, one of the cool things that they updated us about that we didn't know when it was the case, Sean, was they're updating the controls so that you don't have just tank controls in this one.
Know.
Like in the OG game, you've got controls from, the Tomb Raider Anniversary, Tomb Raider Legends style controls. So
yeah,
very similar to other, third-person action games, which I think is just going to make them so much easier to play this time around.
I agree. So, yeah.
After hearing that, I'm even more excited about that collection than I was before. So, and I'm someone who loves those games, who grew up with them. I played them on all three of them on the PlayStation 1. And I'm excited.
I played them on PC, dude. Like that's how out of touch I was with like the rest of console world. We had a PC, we had a 3DFX graphics card, and that was it. That's all we needed. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Also, the best part was, Sean, this was back when IDOS was doing the really funky PC boxes. So they were like, it was like the PC box was on an angle like this. Like they wanted to make their PC boxes look totally different from the other PC big boxes you'd have on the shelf.
That's right.
I always appreciated that. Like even the Final Fantasy VII port that they did to PC was like that too, which I thought was pretty cool.
I'm pretty sure the Voodoo 2, the 3DFX card that we had Lara Croft all over it, like all over the packaging, like all inside. Like that was one of the showcase games. You brought that graphics card home, you played Tomb Raider on it.
Yeah. Well, that was also during the era, Sean, where literally Lara Croft was everywhere.
She was everywhere.
Like she was in Maxim magazine. She was in credit card ads for Visa. Yeah. Like she was in car commercials. Like it was the weirdest thing, but also
paving the way for Lightning from Final Fantasy 13, of course.
Exactly. Of course. Yes. But next up, 2 days later, Sean, Mario versus Donkey Kong again. This is not a Nintendo podcast, but Mario versus Donkey Kong, the remake, I think it looks pretty cool. I never played the GPA version of this, but I like Donkey Kong 94, which is what this is based off of. So I'm excited about this one. But yeah, it's Mario and Donkey Kong. Same day, Sean. I bet you're ready to get your pirate on because Skull and Bones is finally coming out February 16th. That's another game like Suicide Squad where I'm like, you know what? I kind of like want to give it the benefit of the doubt and maybe it could actually be good. And like go in with an open mind to that game, despite the fact that I don't like pirates. So that plays into it a little bit too. But there's an open beta coming, by the way, the week before on the 8th, which is pretty cool.
This one I kind of hope is a bit of a dark horse for the year, Ryan. Like I kind of like what you're talking about with Suicide Squad. It seems like people have made up their minds about it, but I'm kind of hoping maybe it finds some sea legs, as it were, Ryan.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope that they're able to stick the landing on this one, despite the bumpy development. Like, if anything, that would actually get me like pretty excited about it. But.
Well, and let's watch for it because I was reading, I was talking about this on Sweet Hangs. I was reading a review in a PC Gamer magazine, Ryan.
Of course.
And they were talking about Call of Duty, the latest Call of Duty game, Modern Warfare. And I would really like for game reviews to not talk about the development of the game. Yeah. Because honestly, if you don't know that, like it's way better to just play the game that you end up with rather than going like, oh, I know what happened with this game development. Like, who cares? Like, I just want to know what the game is like. Like, don't tell me about the behind the scenes story unless it's something like interesting. Yeah. But it's when people have, that means you've already made up your mind. It's a confirmation bias that kind of comes through there. And I don't like it. And I think that's what's going to happen maybe with Skull and Bones. And it will, at least in my mind, people are free to join me on this crusade, Ryan. But like, I think that discredits a reviewer to bring that in as part of this is a game that's good or bad. It's like because of the story development. Like, dude, leave it out of it. Just play the game and talk to me about the game.
No, for sure. Like it just doesn't make sense to bring that in there unless it's like something where if in the review itself, if you're talking about, hey, there's no ending to this game because the ending feels like it was chopped off, and then you could make it the little point of, maybe that's because of the rush development or something like that.
But
and then move
that's
on.
kind of what I mean though. Like that's kind of what I'm like just isn't it enough to say like the ending it feels chopped off?
Yeah.
Like I just feel like
it's
I don't know. I don't know if I'm making it clear though.
No,
maybe it's 5 hours of podcasting here, but it's that confirmation bias that I'm just wary of. Like where people you didn't need to play the game to review it in that way because you've already decided this game was stitched together and it was reused assets and blah blah. Like leave it out. Just
a review should very much focus on the game itself and what you thought about the game when you played it. Like it should be a reflection of that. But moving on, this one gets me excited, Sean.
I don't know where you're going with this one, Ryan.
February 28th, Sean.
Oh, here we go. Yep.
Star Wars Dark Forces Remastered coming out on Xbox. We're finally going to get to play the Star Wars first-person shooter that started it all, but also, more importantly, Sean, this was a game, and I don't know if you played this game a lot in the 90s, Sean, but this one I played a ton of when it came out. I loved Dark Forces on the PC. In fact, I talked about it on the show a couple times where its sequel, Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight, was one of my first, pro level games where I was in the top 10 in the world for the longest time at that game. And it all kind of stemmed from playing Dark Forces and falling in love with the story of Kyle Katarn in that game and getting kind of introduced to that character. But then just the first person shooting combat, very similar to something like Doom, was just so much fun. And I'm glad that there's like a good console version of Dark Forces that we can go back to at any time on our modern platforms. Like it's so cool that stuff like that gets preserved. So I'm all in on this one when it comes out on the 28th. I'm excited to go back to it.
So we're watching the footage here, and this is a pre-alpha trailer. I do this very quickly as we're doing it live here. And I would like to see maybe if there's another trailer that maybe I can find, maybe not tonight, but at another point. Like it, I'm also excited because I like this game quite a lot back in the day, but that remaster, especially watching that right after Tomb Raider, like it still very much looks like the DOS game. Right. Like it's not the same class of remaster, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I feel like the Tomb Raider remastered feels much more modern looking than something like that does. Whereas I feel like Dark Forces, they're trying to keep it like looking the same spirit as the DOS original.
Yeah. Yon32 in the chat says, was this on PC? This was on PC. That's where I played it anyways. I don't know if it was anywhere
It was
else.
also on PlayStation 1.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. I know a lot of people played it there, but I played it on PC as well. In fact, it's funny because this game, as well as playing Quake on my old PC, Sean, were the games that reinforced my ability to play games by not using the mouse and keyboard, but just playing first-person shooters keyboard only.
Oh yeah.
So when you wanted to look up
space.
And down, you got to use page up and page down to look up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that used to be a thing. I'm like, I can't believe I used to play games like at the pro level playing just keyboard only. It's the weirdest thing to look back on now. I'm like, how the heck did I even do that? But and then of course the following day, last game, it's on PlayStation, but I'm gonna mention it. It's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, because it's one of the biggest games of the year. And of course, I am very excited about it. And of course, it perfectly teases up for, March, when we're going to get, Unicorn Overlord, Sean, as well as a bunch of cool games in March. But VII Rebirth, man, I think is going to be something pretty special. And I'm excited to play it, even though it's on PlayStation.
I will probably play at some point this year the original remake, Integrate, on PC. Because in case people are new to listening to this show, we sort of treat the Xbox Drive like our unofficial PC podcast. Yep. We think that makes sense. I think we haven't had anybody send in hate mail about it, so we're gonna keep doing that. So that's where you're gonna see me playing Final Fantasy VII and talking about it on this show. Probably Helldivers, possibly. We'll see.
Yep.
Find out.
We'll find out. Maybe Tomb Raider, even on the PC.
Probably Tomb Raider on PC as well. Yeah, that would be a nostalgia thing for me. Like you said, like a lot of people played, I would say the vast majority of people played Tomb Raider on PlayStation. Like for me, it was a PC game. So that's kind of where I want to go back to that. If we get the chance to review it there. But if we don't, then maybe the library, right? We got to find a way around.
We'll have a copy. Yeah.
Yep.
Because likewise, I'm going to play Tomb Raider that's one of the reasons I'm playing it on PlayStation. Like I'm planning to play it there because for the same reason, where I played the game on PlayStation, like growing up. And I feel like that's like, I'm kind of like that with certain series where like, if I grew up playing that series on a certain console, like I'll usually play it on like the next iteration of that console too. Especially if it's like a remaster of an old game that I really played on that console.
For sure. Yeah. That makes sense. I almost I was deciding whether or not to jump into Jedi Knight or Jedi Survivor earlier today, but for whatever reason, I was like, maybe I'll play Mass Effect 2. And then I jump onto Twitter later and discover that it's the anniversary for Mass Effect 2. Like it came out whatever it was 16 years ago or something. Today. I thought that was kind of weird. I almost took it as a sign like everything's going to be all right. You know, I've been very worried, been very anxious lately. And then I got this nice little sign. I was thinking about Mass Effect 2. Then I see the tweets and look at that. Son of a gun.
Yeah. I'm glad you said Mass Effect 2, Sean, because you reminded me. I forgot to mention I played a little Mass Effect 2 this week.
Yes.
Not for any reason. I was just like, oh, it's on my console. I just felt like booting it up and just playing it for a bit.
It's on that anniversary, or the legendary, I should say, legendary collection. And I only played the first one when it came out. I still have to go back and play the other two.
I went back and did the mission with Jacob's dad, which is one of my favorite missions in that game.
Good. Yeah.
And then I recruited Rex and I did all kinds of cool stuff. That game's pretty fun still. So
as it turns out, yeah. Breaking news, Mass Effect 2, a very good video game.
I mean, one might say it's my favorite Xbox 360 game, Sean. One might say that.
It's up there, dude. Like, oh, that's great.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go. 10 awesome games releasing in February. So clearly there's a lot of games coming out. I'm so like, it's so crazy just looking at 2024 so far and being like, man, 2024 seems like it's going to be a pretty good year for games, and February is pretty exciting. So I just wanted to celebrate, Sean, the fact that video games are good. There's good video games to be excited about. And I'm excited for games, man. I'm excited to talk about games and play all these games and finding room to play other games on this list that I don't know when I'm going to play.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, anyway, Sean, let's let some people into the car with us. It is time for the carpool. We're going to start with I Can't See, this was a question we got last week, but I Can't See, of course, posted a little bit late. But they wanted us to go back and read this question this week. So that's not a problem. So I Can't See asks, last week you talked about Hellblade 1 being on every platform. Will Hellblade 2 be on every platform at some point? If not, do you think that's everyone's beef deep down about the game, being down on it? I'm sorry about the late questions, guys. I think of things as you discuss topics, so my brain, tucks into it a little bit. So will Hellblade 2, Sean, be on other platforms at some point? I would have actually, coming into this year, I probably would have said no. But hearing what we're hearing about some other Microsoft games, I think the door is open that maybe in a year or two, this maybe comes to other platforms. But I would say for at least the first year, no, it will be only Xbox and PC.
Yeah, I think that's the key. And you know what? I'm going to add on to that, Ryan. I'm going to champion it. I actually hope that it goes on other consoles because I don't care anymore. I think time exclusive with your own properties, I think is awesome. I think that makes so much sense. And you know what else? Fast forward 2 years, PlayStation's going to do the exact same thing. Yeah, I think they'll do the same. Maybe not with everything. I think Xbox will be a little bit more, wheeling and dealing with it. Maybe a little bit more liberal with it. But I don't mean it in the political sense. Just a little like they'll do it more often. PlayStation will also get there eventually, just as they've done with PC. They've got that Horizon game coming up to PC in March, I think it is. So yep. They'll come around because it sells, man. It works. It works to have these games come out for other ones. So I don't think that there's any sort of like pedestal to be had here. Go ahead.
No, if anything, I'm glad that like the barriers are breaking down a little bit where we can finally maybe get to the point where everything is available on everything eventually. If you wait long enough. Like I love the idea of that. Somebody
had posted something about like that's how PC gamers have been playing forever now.
Yeah.
Is eventually like there's really nothing exclusive. Mm-hmm. There's a few games, there's very, very few like true exclusives on PC, right? And like StarCraft.
Well, I was going to say the games that are true exclusive on PC are the type of games that don't work on consoles.
They literally don't work. Exactly. Yeah. So it's similar to like their exclusives on VR because it requires the equipment, so to speak. So Yeah, I don't, and I think it will, and I don't think it's a bad thing. So
no. I'm in agreement with you, Sean. I think it's actually a good thing down the road. But next up, we got a question from Trickster who asks, when do you think some of the games Xbox is supposed to release this year are coming out? I think Flight Simulator will come out in March or April. Other games like Replaced, 33 Immortals, Towerborn, Avowed, Indie, Ara. When do we think these are actually coming out? So I'm actually with you, Trickster, on Flight Simulator, because that seems like it's not like a full like redo of Flight Simulator. Like it's kind of like an evolution of what's already there, almost feeling like DLC or an expansion pack of some way. So I expect that probably earlier in the year. Ara, like they say, or like 2024 with no window, but like I'm expecting that to maybe still be first half of the year. Of course,
we take these one at a time because I'm gonna lose track of them all.
Of course.
I'm with you. I think Flight Simulator is June or July. I'd put money on that.
Okay.
Ara, I think, is August, September.
Okay.
For whatever reason. It seems to take up the same space in my mind as Rare Replay. I don't know why, but that seems like a summer game.
Yeah, true. Replaced, that was supposed to come out last year, and it got delayed to this year.
December.
I would be actually surprised if it's out before August. I think that's a fall game at this point.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about. Like, yeah, just maybe we haven't heard anything about it. I'm pushing it all the way. I think we're continuing to be surprised by games that we think should be ready very soon. Then when we learn about them, they're actually quite far. Like Space Marine 2 is an example I'm thinking of. Like games just they keep getting delayed. So I think that game is late. Hollow Knight is the other one I was thinking of. Like Hollow Knight's nowhere to be found.
That's true too. Well, Hollow Knight will literally just show up again the day that they're ready to announce the release date for it.
I don't think so. I think it'll be a 6-week thing. I think it'll be close. It won't be like it's not like we'll learn about it tomorrow and it's September. I do think it'll be within 2 months, but I don't think it's a shadow drop deal.
Okay. Well, I don't mean it's a shadow drop. I mean, well, the next time we see that game is when they're just like, here's the release date, whenever it is.
Kind of sure. Yo, for sure. Yeah, that's people will riot if they see it and don't get a date.
Exactly. 33 Immortals is also kind of in the same bucket, I think, Sean, where it's just like, I feel like if that game was coming out in the first half, we would have seen it at the developer direct, but we didn't. So I'm thinking second half of the year for 33 Immortals. Maybe that's even a December game.
Dude, this could be 2025.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think this game is so far out. And yeah, maybe because it seemed very early with the first time that we saw it. And it seems like a complex game and a small team, I guess is kind of what I'm thinking about it. So take your time with it. Let it cook.
Yeah, let it cook. I mean, not everything has to release this year, Sean. That's the thing.
Yeah, let me buy it next year.
Because speaking of those games, Sean, Towerborn, I don't think that game comes out this year.
I don't remember this game.
Because I think Towerborn is the one where I'm like, where you kind of think about with 33 Immortals. Like, I think that one is like pretty far away too. But you don't really know anything about this game either. Like, it's the Banner Saga team game.
I always wanted to play the Banner Saga games.
Yeah, they seem interesting.
Yeah, I'm remembering it now. Okay, as I'm looking at it for the audio listeners, like, yeah. Oh yeah, co-op adventure. Okay. Yeah, this game looks cool. Yeah, same thing. Very, very early. This game does look really good though. Beautiful art style.
It looks cool, but yeah, I just feel like that one's like, of the games we're listing here, like that, and I agree with you, maybe 33 Immortals, like those are the two that's probably the furthest away, actually.
Yeah, I agree.
Avowed, I actually think it comes out in the window. They said that it's going to come in fall. Yeah. So I actually expect, like, that's a good September game. Like where Starfield was this year. I feel like that's where you put Avowed in this year. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think Xbox has been through the ringer on giving us release dates and not hitting them. So I think this is locked in, honestly. Yeah,
for sure. And then Indie, you know, I saw some people thinking that game is coming out next year. I don't know, man. I still, in my gut, feel like Indie is coming out this year. And I feel like that's an October game.
Yeah. How many years? I feel like we don't really know too much about it to really weigh in one way or another. Like I think they've been pretty secretive about it, which is nice. Like nice not to know something about games, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I agree. I think that'll be pretty well locked in. But the thing that you can always bet on is that something is going to get delayed. So I guess that's maybe the heart of the question of like, especially things on the direct that we talked about last week, the developers direct, which games are going to get delayed. I don't know. I actually have all the 5. Like I don't know. None of them, I think.
I honestly, Sean, I don't think any of the developer direct games get delayed this year.
Yeah.
I feel like they specifically picked those games for a reason. The ones
they were chosen.
I feel like those are the games they're most confident will actually come out this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Because the same thing happened with the developer direct last year, where it was like
they nailed it.
I don't think any of those games got delayed out of last year.
I can't recall exactly what games they were there, but I'll take your word for it, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm like pretty certain that was the case because it was Hi-Fi Rush, Starfield, Forza.
Yeah,
like all those came out last year. So
yeah,
but yeah, who knows? Who knows what'll happen? It's gaming, and anything can happen. But next up, we got Kevin Ainsworth, who asked the question: with the announcement of Hellblade 2 being all digital and the Microsoft layoffs, where they seemingly have eliminated the team responsible for physical games, do you think they're accelerating their plans for all digital games? Should we expect Avowed or maybe Indiana Jones to be digital only? So first off, I don't think the layoffs could maybe point to like a movement towards that. But this is something you and I talked about last year when we had the episode where we talked about the leaked documents from the FTC case about the next, console iteration. But like, that just seems like their plan going forward, period, is just digital only because I saw Jeff Grubb talking about in his podcast, but there are certain Xbox first party games that came out last year that were 80-20 in favor of digital for purchasing. So it's just like, at that point, why make physical games at that point? Like, why bother? Like, I feel like that's the direction they're really going in at this point.
Well, yeah. And what is the number that makes it more obvious for people for it to be acceptable? Like, does it have to be 95? It gets to a point where it just doesn't make any sense. And it's funny because earlier we talked about how this podcast is sort of like our unofficial PC gaming podcast. And guess what's been happening with PC gaming for the last 20 some odd years? Guess how many physical releases there's been for PC games for the last number of decades? 0.0%, Ryan.
I'm gonna do the push my glasses and
actually,
you can go to a site like Limited Run Games, Sean.
But I'm not talking about that.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and so it's interesting how much we want the industry to progress, and this thing is the thing that we just keep making us think about. Even as I say that, I know people want to collect things. I know there's this whole digital games can be taken away from us and you can't resell them. I get it all, but again, that's a reality that we've been living with in PC gaming for forever at this point. We've just kind of, once we accepted it, you never really looked back. So I'm of two minds of it because I am a proponent for physical media. I've got a ton of it behind me, but I also have a ton of it in my storage room that never gets looked at. And we were just looking at my 360 games earlier on Sweet Hangs. They're still here. Dude, I didn't even remember that I had a copy of Mafia 2 in a steelbook case. Now, I love this steelbook case, but does it even matter that I have it if I didn't even know it was there? I guess is my point. At a certain point, is it really necessary? What is the pragmatic, the real tangible benefit of having the physical stuff? I don't know if it's a big deal. And the final thing I'll say on this, because I know I've been rambling a little bit, is this has just been inevitable, and it kind of, I guess, as far as PR goes for Xbox, it's maybe unfortunate for Xbox that they're the ones making this call, but it's kind of how Xbox has been from the very beginning. They were the ones who ushered in the Ethernet cable or Ethernet connection on the back of the Xbox. And I guess they're the ones ushering out physical releases for their first party games. I think that's fascinating. And also, I don't think did Hi-Fi Rush get a physical release last year?
I think it's getting
maybe eventually.
It hasn't happened yet, but I think they've announced that one's coming.
So I mean, there's that too. So there's other examples here as well.
But they're doing it in very limited quantity, because I think the future for physical media for Xbox first party games is through something like Limited Run or another company like that. Like they don't do it internally. Like if they want a physical copy of a game, maybe they like go through an IM 8-bit or a Limited Run or someone else to do all that legwork for them. Like I feel like that's kind of the direction they'll go in it all if they do physical media going forward. And I think I agree with you, Sean. I think that's okay, because more than anything, the main reason I switched over to digital only instead of physical games for modern consoles, it's because to me, I don't really feel a benefit in getting physical games because I mean, I'm not the type of person that really resells the games anyways, but it's different than movies or something like that, because movies, there's a tangible viewing difference between watching a 4K Blu-ray of a movie and watching a stream of a movie.
There's no doubt. Yeah.
But games are not the same way. The modern games install to your hard drive and play off your hard drive, whether you have the disc or not. So, especially with most modern releases now, where the disc is literally has a 500 kilobyte file on it that just serves as the key to unlock the game for you,
right?
And to download it, right? So, like that's also the reason why I'm like, to your point, Sean, it's kind of inevitable at this point. The industry is just going in this direction, and I'm one of those people that's just okay with it, because I see. I understand the collector's mentality of it. And I always still feel like there will be physical options for people out there, even in the days after when the consoles release without disc drives. Like maybe they release an optional disc drive, and then you can collect your physical games like you collect vinyls, and that's okay too. But.
Yeah, I think that, there's an interesting conversation hopefully to be had here as well. And I think as far as like, if everything is 100% digital in the video game space, that I will become even more choosy of where I'm going to play because of these walled gardens that are around. And the reason I'm thinking about this is you brought up movies, where I am also very choosy. And actually with movies, I don't buy digital versions of movies at all. I think that's really maybe interesting for reflection for me in a little while. But because on a streaming front, where I do watch the vast majority of my movies, and many people do, the nature of that environment is movies come in and out all the time. And that kind of thing gets me out of the streaming area altogether. I've become less interested in like Netflix and whatever else, because I don't want to have to like keep track of where some of my favorite movies come and go to. So that's where my reliance on buying physical media in movies comes back. And so I don't know necessarily, I don't know if that makes any sense to you as far as like how that connects back to video games. But I guess what it really means is I'm really hopeful that for Xbox, especially since we're talking about Xbox, that this digital library persists, right? Because as soon as I get a little inkling that maybe these games, if we're going all digital, then I want this thing forever, basically. Mm-hmm. And that is what happens on PC. And that's why we're all okay with it in PC gaming.
And I don't see any reason why they don't. Like, we still on Xbox currently, as far as I know of, don't have a situation where you can't re-download a game that you've purchased.
Right.
Even going back to 360, all of those games, you can go into your download history and re-download every single one of them, even if they've been delisted from the store. So
right, because you own them.
Because you own them. Yeah, and I imagine on the current consoles that's going to persist, where even though they'll delist games and you won't be able to purchase them anymore, you'll still be able to download them if you own them. Like, Pilgrim was the same way on 360. A lot of the Marvel Ultimate Alliance, like those got delisted back in 2015. But I bought both Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, and I still have those. I can re-download them anytime I want to, because they exist in my digital library, and I just expect that being the status quo going forward.
To me, that is the same as what people argue like the value of physical media is that you can always go back and pop them in and play. Obviously, ignoring the fact that especially discs and some cartridges as well, like they'll deteriorate over time. But like as long as you can go back and play it, I think that's all people really want. Now, as a library goer, Ryan, I don't like this at all. This means I can't go to a library and rent a digital version of no game. The renting of video games for me has been physical media all the way. So that means I won't be able to rent Hellblade 2 from the library. So maybe from that perspective, I'm pissed, Ryan.
Of course. I get it from that perspective. Also, I want to bring in I Can't See from the chat real quick, who says, why not bundle a digital game with a themed controller or piece of merchandise? That's actually what Sony does with their collector's editions. And people for some reason don't like that, where I'm just like, I like that better than including a physical game in there. Like if you're getting, because I'm like, oh, I like these extra things on my shelf. And it comes with the steelbook if you like the steelbook. But then I don't have to worry about dealing with the physical disc. And to me, that's all upside. But to most collectors, I get like they don't see it that way. And again, that's totally fine if that's your viewpoint. But
definitely. And Donnie talked about that with Hellblade last week too. Like again, it doesn't have to be the game. I feel like especially for collectors, I'm actually maybe not going to argue that point. But I think no matter what, sometimes you just want to geek out about a game. And sometimes that means having a physical little something, something. So it can be a steelbook, it can be a little bust, it can be a map, it can be
it could be this hammer, Thor's hammer, Sean.
Good God.
I mean,
or a controller or a console.
Exactly. Like this is one of the coolest things, by the way, I got from a collector's edition is Thor's hammer. I love this thing. This is from the God of War Ragnarok collector's edition. Because it didn't come with a physical copy of the game. It came with a digital one. And I'm cool with that. Because it doesn't have to be like, to your point, Sean, it doesn't have to be the game we get physically. Like if they had like Hellblade merch, like a figure and stuff like that, like that'd be just as cool. Or I would almost like that better. So maybe that's the direction of physical stuff that they go in. Whereas, I'm still buying physical movies. Like I just literally today, I pre-ordered Aliens and the Abyss on 4K because I'm like, yes, please, I need those movies in 4K. But
it's getting to the point too where people will be so they'll be so obsessed with this stuff and so desperate for it that honestly, Ryan, like I think some of us would pay dollars for instruction booklets at this point. Like I think we would.
People still do. People do. Actually, have you not seen the eBay listings for instruction manuals, Sean?
Like for new games, for
old games, but then also there are some for new games, especially if you go the limited run style and stuff like that. Like they may especially like this copy of Shantae and the Seven Sirens I've got on my shelf, Sean. It comes with an instruction manual for that game, and that's a brand new game.
Like that's kind of, I think when people talk about physical media, I think anyways, more fondly of physical media from even like pre 360, maybe some select 360 games, but even before that, where it wasn't just a case with a disc in it. Like it's so dissatisfying. I buy a lot of my games physically on Switch, and it's just like a plastic case you pop open and there's this lonely cartridge sitting in there. And like, that kind of sucks, dude, compared to for some of the old people like us. Remember when like the case was weighty, there was something inside that you could kind of sift through it. Like so you got a little thing that you pop in your console. Who cares?
Yeah,
be dismissive about it at this point. But
and then carrying all those little cartridges when you go everywhere with you, Sean, making sure
you could lose them. Yeah, it could get stolen. Like that's the other piece of it all. So it's a complex topic. I know people are very emotional about all of it. I don't mean to be dismissive of where people land on physical media, but it seems to be where we're at. Obviously, it sucks that people have lost their jobs who were connected to that. But yeah, it's one of those things. PC gaming, we haven't even thought about physical games in a long, long time.
Yeah, exactly. All right, last question of the week comes to us from Cwagmire, who says, Mike Ybarra departing Blizzard is a big surprise, especially since he was quoted by Jason Schreier back in November, saying he planned to stay at Blizzard for the long haul. How do you see Blizzard proceeding moving forward? Is this the Microsoftification of Blizzard? So obviously this came up with the layoffs that happened this week over at Microsoft. Honestly, like whenever a big company acquires another big company, there's always layoffs like this, and there's always a change in leadership. And even though, Mike Ybarra maybe wanted to stay, maybe Microsoft was like, hey, maybe he's not the right person for the job. Maybe someone else is that person to kind of key on whatever their vision of Activision Blizzard is going forward. So maybe that's just where that decision came from. We don't really know because we just speculate on this stuff. So to answer your question, Quaggy, honestly, I think this is kind of yes, in the sense that it is the Microsoft conversion of of Blizzard in the sense that they're trying to, guide them under their umbrella with the vision that they have for the company going forward. Because it is their company now. They kind of make the rules at this point. But what do you think about this question, Sean?
It's a bummer. Mikey Barr was a pretty awesome guy, and it did seem like he was very well liked by the Blizzard team. And it's such an emotionally charged moment. So I'm not entirely sure if somebody would go like, yeah, good riddance to Mikey Barr. Like it seemed like everybody who was reaching out was saying wonderful things about him. And he did great things at Xbox when he was there and was part of some really cool announcements for Xbox. So I was really looking forward to him rejoining, but my own personal speculation based on absolutely nothing, like something's there.
Yeah.
Is kind of like, and I'd be very interested to learn what that is. I also thought I remember him being excited for the merger. So I'm not sure what to make about it. I could be misremembering that. But I was kind of hopeful that this could be him coming like almost back home to Xbox, but I obviously don't know why he left to begin with. This doesn't really seem to look all that great that now he's back with Xbox and he's like, no, either he left or they decided he was going to be out. Again, not really entirely sure. But yeah, we talked for the last number of years how we weren't going to go into too much detail over the merger and will it happen, will it not happen? We still aren't quite done with it. Obviously the merger itself is complete, but like the way things are going to shake out, probably still coming along here. So yeah, I was bummed to see it. So hopefully you can keep Rod Ferguson over there too, because I like him a lot.
For sure. And again, your point, I think you're dead on, Sean. Like there's got to be, like they wouldn't just let someone like this go for no reason. Like there has to be something there.
Right. They send him back into the market. Like he's going to go do something else with, I don't know, with PlayStation maybe, or who knows what.
No. And again, like my theory is just they had conversations with him, like initial conversations of the direction that they wanted to go. And maybe he didn't agree with everything they had. So that was that. But I don't know. We don't really know, but you're right. Like I'm sad to see him go as well. I did hope he would stick around, but it's not to be, unfortunately, which is too bad, but I know he's going to land on his feet. So,
there's no doubt that guy, he's so smart. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go, Sean. That is all the questions for this week. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Xbox Drive. But before we go, Sean, plugs go.
You can find me on Twitter at Sean Capri, Sean like Connor, Capri like the pants. And this weekend, you can find me going on a big hike with my wife at Elk Island Park in Alberta, Ryan. We're going for 13 kilometers tomorrow. So tonight, did a marathon of podcasts. Tomorrow, we're going on a big, long hike in the snowy wilderness out here in Canada land.
My God.
And patreon.com/carpoolgaming, of course. Come join the hundreds of people over there.
Come say hi. Come say hi over there on Patreon. As for me, you can find me on the old Twitter at Ryan Turford. You can find us on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it at Carpool Gaming. Right here, youtube.com/Carpool Gaming. Of course, podcast services around the globe. So for Sean Capri, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been episode 324 of the Xbox Drive, and we out. Bye.
The next chapter of Carpool Gaming has been written. You guys are going to hear all about it pretty soon, but not right now.
No power greater than X.